morning, everyone. It is Monday morning. It's about 83 degrees out here. It's supposed to hit 94 today. And Miss Brown has done a thing. So, this is a pile of stuff behind Tyler's camper. And Miss Brown made a nest back here. Can I get a peek, sweetheart? And she's been sitting here for the last 28 days or so. And she's gonna bite me. But she's got a bunch of babies underneath her. A couple more eggs. Okay. I checked on this morning and there's at least 4 chicks in there. There's like 2 gray ones, a black one and a white one. So she may have got fertilized by both toms. So anyways, what I did was I brought a baby waterer and a waterer for her. I brought some food for her and some baby food. That's the one bad thing about turkeys nesting wherever they choose, is because she's used to going down to the barnyard to eat and drink now. Well, the babies, only being a couple days old, she's gonna have to get them to walk all the way down there. Then I've got all the birds out and about. So you have to worry about, other birds, peacocks, toms, all that attacking the babies. So I'm hoping she'll use this food and water right here. I've never had much luck with that, but I gave her a lot of options there. So hopefully she'll use these. I'll also keep an eye on her so that when she gets up. Now I did grab 3 of those chicks this morning and I dipped their beaks in the water because it is hot out and they hatched sometime yesterday. So hopefully she'll use this stuff and everything will go well. But now I need to head up to the garden and harvest some tomatoes. So I thought I'd bring you along. The garden is not doing very well anymore. It started out doing really well, and with all the heat that we've had, everything's just wilting and dying, and that's okay. I have harvested quite a bit from the garden and I didn't get around to showing you guys because we've been working on the barn. And the mushrooms, before mushroom bed, it never did produce any mushrooms. So for those of you that said you never had any luck with it, well, I didn't have any luck with it either. We'll try again next year though. We'll try a different kind, I think. These mushrooms, they were labeled as for intermediate mushroom growers, which I didn't figure that growing mushrooms would be any different than growing a garden. So I figured I could do it, but obviously I was mistaken. Okay, let's see. So the sugar pie pumpkins, the vines have totally died. There's a couple of pumpkins there, which is okay. I still have a lot of pumpkin from last year in the freezer. We had pinto beans here, which have gotten taken over by weeds, but we did harvest those twice. This is our second batch of corn right here, which is already tossling with no corn on the stalks. So yeah, it's not gonna make, because this is already putting pollen out and there's no corn on that. So I don't know if it got too hot for corn. I've never grown corn before here, so I don't know. I'm guessing it's too hot. That's my best guess, because I just don't know. So next year we're going to plant, well, the corn is going to go over there where the potatoes were this year, and we're going to plant the whole thing in corn all at once. Now in this jungle we have some watermelons. There's a couple of nice good sized ones there, but they're not ripe yet. We have spaghetti squash in this mess, and I did harvest 2 of those. The rest aren't quite ready yet. I see a bright yellow one over there, might be close to being ready. But these vines have come all the way out here. They're doing okay, but they're getting powdery mildew on them. And I was gonna spray them with a milk solution, but then it rained, so I didn't. And all of this corn has already been harvested. It can be pulled out or tilled in. We have giant Atlantic pumpkins over here. And some of these vines are nice and green and doing well. And some, as you can see, are wilting very badly. But that's a giant Atlantic. It's still not getting very big. I don't think we're giving them enough water. I water like every 2 days, but it's just so hot and dry that I don't think I've given anything enough water. Now the grapes, we had a nice beautiful bunch of grapes right here, and Redford, the peacock, has eaten that bunch. We still have this bunch of grapes right here. And yeah, I need to get some netting or something up over that, or he's just gonna eat all those too. I'm just happy to see the grapes grow, even if I don't get any till next year. And the rest of the garden. So this was peas. We've already harvested all of those. We have yard-long beans right here. And I just grew them for the novelty of it, just because I wanted to see them all hanging down. But we have eaten some. We've given some to the neighbors. We all like them. The cucumbers this year went crazy. So all of this, all over the ground, coming into this bed, all over here, and up over, and all down the other side. That's 6 cucumber plants. So last year the cucumbers didn't do this well. And last year they kind of grew and covered a panel, but they didn't spread out a lot, and then they seem to have died off pretty early. And these cucumbers, they're just taking over everything. So here's the other side of the bed. You can see they've sprawled out into the walkway. They've come all the way down here underneath the tarragon. It's just a massive cucumber jungle, which is okay because I've been making some bread and butter pickles, which are really fantastic. We have some red ghost peppers here that I don't know what they're supposed to look like, but they look like they're almost ready. The basil this year, they're like bushes. They didn't do this well last year. You know, we have these 2 trees right here. We have a tree right here and a tree right here that I was going to cut down because they're shading the garden. But these peppers that are in that shade are doing a lot better than peppers down here that are not in the shade. So yeah, I think I need more shade in the garden. Anyways, here's the tomatoes. So from here, actually, let's see, the tomatoes start right here, right after the cucumbers, and they go all the way down to the other end, just before the green beans. And they're on both sides of this cattle panel trellis. I guess a lot of them are determinants because they didn't climb up. They stayed short. But we got a lot of harvesting of tomatoes to do. I've been harvesting tomatoes sort of just after they blush, or maybe a little bit longer. If I could find one to show you. So these here, they're blushed, they're orange with a little bit of yellow on top. Now those I haven't been picking, but some like this that are mostly reddish, and then they still have some yellow on the top. Those I've been harvesting and then let them finish ripening in the house, because There's a lot of rotting tomatoes. They rot before they ripen, and I don't know if birds are biting them and then bugs are getting into them. So yeah, I don't know. We have this problem every year. We also have this problem every year. I think this is some sort of blight where everything just, all the leaves start dying off and it works its way up the plant. And I'll come through every now and then and I'll just break off all of the dead stuff. So this plant is like 12 feet tall. It is way up there. And somehow I managed to label these wrong. And I can't even imagine how, because I planted the seed and I labeled it, but nothing ended up being what it was supposed to be. Like these here are supposed to be, now they might be, I suppose, but these here are supposed to be boxcar willies, an indeterminate plant. And so that's what it looks like. It's kind of a weird looking tomato. As you can see, there's a rotting spot right there. So these are supposed to be indeterminate, but they're only like 2 to 3 feet tall. So yeah, I don't know what they are. This one here was supposed to be beefsteaks. Let's see if we can find a ripe one in here. This obviously is not a beefsteak. This is a paste tomato. So I don't know how all the labels got messed up. I was very careful about it this year and I just got it wrong. So anyways, I'm gonna harvest up all these tomatoes and I will show you what I got afterwards, because I can't hold the camera and harvest, and there's a lot of tomatoes here. So let me get these off the vines. I love cherry tomatoes. Well, I think that's about it. There's still a lot of orange tomatoes in here, as you can see, but I don't like to take too many into the kitchen at once because it is hot in the kitchen and I don't want them to spoil in the kitchen before they ripen either. So this is what I picked this morning. So one tote full, but I pick this much every other day. Now, while I was harvesting the tomatoes, I saw 2 big rats, probably, you know, about the size of a baseball, but they came running along the edge of the bed and started to run that way. Then they saw me and they turned around and they came back this way. So I'm thinking that they're what's making all the damage in my garden. This is a new dig spot this morning. It wasn't like this last night. So yeah, a lot of my plants are getting dug up, and I'm going to guess that it's those big field rats or whatever they are. And they have dug up so much of my garden this year. We didn't have that problem last year. And I'll tell you what else we didn't have a problem with last year that I found this morning. My corn that has been eaten down by the ground and then it falls over, I watched a squirrel do it this morning. I came up, turned the water on to the garden earlier this morning, and there was a squirrel with his front paws up on the stem and he was munching away. So we're going to get rid of squirrels around here. And we used to eat squirrels and I still like them, but Eddie's decided he doesn't really like them that much anymore. So either I'll eat them or the pigs will eat them, but we're getting rid of some squirrels. I can't believe this year, finally, I got a good amount of compost, a good amount of manure on my garden, and the garden was doing great, and everything is trying to kill it for me. The squirrels are killing the corn, the mice are digging up my plants. So yeah, if anybody has any ideas on how to take care of those 2 pests, I would be happy to hear it. Here's my zucchini, which surprisingly this year did not get the squash bugs, I guess, the ones with the little red eggs on here. I have killed off a couple of bunches of eggs on here this year, but that was it. And we got a little baby zucchini right there. We've picked a bunch of zucchini though. We give a lot of it to the neighbor. She likes them really small. And we got some vine borer damage, but they're still growing. So these are good, strong, healthy plants. Of course, we have some branches that have died off, but you can see down here, this is all vine borer damage. They've got into the vine and they've chewed it all up. And I'm not gonna worry about it because, like I said, we've gotten a ton of zucchini already this year. So I'm not gonna try to get rid of the vine borers or anything. And the plants are still doing well. So I don't know if they've put out more roots somewhere else, but I don't want to mess with it. So then we've got some watermelon down here. This is, I think it's called Black Diamond. And there's a big one right here, but it's not ready yet. I keep checking it. So here's the vine that it's coming off of. And then here's the curlicue, which is actually all brown now. So it's not crispy though. I don't want to. I don't want to harvest it before it's ready because I already did that once this year. It looked ready and the curlicue was dead. So I harvested it. It wasn't ready. So I need to take a class on how to tell when watermelons are ready. Butternut squash. The plants have pretty much all died off. There's a couple of leaves here and there that are still alive, but I'm gonna have to come through and harvest all the squashes. The vines, I'm waiting for the stems to turn more brown. There's a few in there, not a ton, but we don't eat a ton of it anyway. And here is cantaloupe. There's a pretty big one right in there. It's all green. This is the bed that got dug up last night. We've got one there that looks like it's almost ready. Right there. Still got a green tinge to it though, so. And the sweet potatoes. Not too worried about the sweet potatoes. They did great last year. Last year the sweet potatoes got buggy real bad and didn't matter. Sweet potatoes kept growing. So, all right guys, it's getting really hot up here. So I'm gonna take these tomatoes down to the kitchen, and I have some that I picked a few days ago that I need to cut up. So I'll see you tomorrow. So we ran to town and got some fireworks for the 4th, and we came back and I wanted to check on Miss Brown, see if she was off the nest yet. And this is what we have. So she's got 5 babies. She's got 2 gray ones, 2 white ones, and a black one. All right, all right, all right. I don't want to disturb her too much because she's got the babies under Tyler's camper in the shade. So I moved all the feed and water over there. So, and I dipped the babies' beaks in the water so that hopefully they'll know what the water is because it's so hot out here. Now she had 2 eggs left in the nest. One of them was pipped and it had some ants coming out of the pip hole. So I quickly got that baby out of the egg to make sure that there was no more ants in it, and I put it into the hatcher. Now the yolk was not absorbed all of the way. Well, it was pretty much absorbed, but it wasn't healed yet, so it wasn't quite ready to come out. It still had probably another day, but I couldn't leave it with ants in the egg, so it's in the hatcher. It's also a white one. we'll have to wait and see if it survives. The other egg, I can hear the baby pecking at the inside of the shell, so I also put that one in the hatcher, and we'll have to wait and see if that one hatches. That one didn't have a pip hole, so there's no ants in that one. So if those two survive, we'll have 2 more turkeys in there. Now I'm really happy that some of these turkeys came out white, because that means that she was bred by both toms. So we'll have some more of both breeds. Now whether or not we get any hens out of them will be a different story, but it's going to be a couple of months before we know if we've got hens or toms. So, but it's pretty exciting. Hopefully she keeps them all alive. I'm a little bit worried about that just because she's not penned up anywhere, and we have a lot of birds running around, and I hope that nothing gets a hold of them. They're not hanging out underneath her because it's too hot for that. That's why normally turkeys don't hatch this time of year. So she sits there, and then all the babies are around her, and let's just keep our fingers crossed that she does a good job and keeps them safe.